O&M 101. What is the law? Learn how orientation and mobility is legally defined. On screen, a person navigates steps using a white cane.
Hello, parents and caregivers, and welcome to MDE LIO's Parent Educational Video Series, where we break down the mystery of big educational labels and the little acronyms that represent them. I'm Amy Shepard, Parent Liaison to the Michigan Department of Education Low Incidence Outreach, or MDE-LIO for short. And that, folks, is our first acronym. I'm a parent of a young man who is legally blind, a community advocate, and a constant collaborator. Today, I'm collaborating with Beth Brabs, a certified orientation mobility specialist at MDE-LIO. Hi, Beth.
Hi, Amy.
Beth, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, Amy, I am the newest education consultant here at MDE-LIO, and I came here in August of 2021 after teaching in public schools as a teacher consultant for the visually impaired and an orientation and mobility specialist for over 30 years. I have loved working with students who have visual impairments in Michigan, and I can honestly say that I have learned as much from my students and their families as they have learned from me.
Well, I'm so excited that you are here with us today. As you know, this is our first video in the Orientation Mobility series, and that acronym is O&M, Orientation and Mobility, O&M for short. Beth, today we are hoping that you can teach our listeners what the law says about orientation mobility. But first, what is orientation and mobility?
Orientation and mobility, or O&M, is a service provided to students who are blind or visually impaired as part of the Expanded Core Curriculum, or ECC. Yet another acronym. Yeah. We do love our acronyms in education. Yes. O&M focuses on two basic types of skill development. Orientation is knowing where you are in space, and mobility is being able to move through your environment safely and independently.
And learning how to move safely seems like a pretty important skill to develop.
Yes, it is. In fact, it's so important that O&M instruction is part of the law called IDEA, which stands for Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. IDEA tells us in legal language what O&M is and tells us where that instruction is supposed to take place.
Understanding the law is really important, but it can also be confusing. Beth, tell us, how does IDEA define orientation and mobility?
There's actually quite a lot to it, Amy, as you can see from this slide. First, it defines what O&M services are. They are services provided to blind or visually impaired children by qualified personnel to enable those students to attain systematic orientation to and safe movement within their environments in school, home, and the community.
Wow, that sounds like a mouthful. It sounds like it means that students will have a qualified orientation mobility specialist work with them in all of those places, not just at school?
Yes, that's correct. When you learn a skill in one location, that doesn't mean it will automatically transfer to a new place, because a new place will have different environmental things happening in it. So it's important that we teach skills in all of the places that your child will need to travel, which is why it's so important for parents to have ongoing conversations with their O&M specialist.
I completely agree. It meant so much to me to hear from my son's O&M specialist and to get ideas from them on what we could work on at home. Beth, what else does the law tell us?
IDEA requires teaching spatial and environmental concepts and the use of information received by the senses, such as sound, temperature, and vibrations, to establish, maintain, or regain orientation and line of travel. For example, using sound at a traffic light to cross the street.
That sounds really technical. Tell us more about what it means to establish, maintain, and regain travel.
Okay, well, let me give you an example of one instance when we teach children to regain their line of travel after they've lost it. We do teach kids how to establish their line of travel and be able to maintain it as they're walking down the sidewalk. And those sidewalk travel skills developed by us explaining to them that they can use their cane to feel the grass on either side of the sidewalk while they're walking. And when they get to the curb at the end of the sidewalk, they have to stop and use another set of skills to cross the street. But it's common for people to veer into an intersection, or even more common to veer away from the intersection because you're nervous about all those cars.
Yeah.
And when that happens, kids can't find the sidewalk when they get to the other side. So they need to be able to recognize that they veered, which way they veered, and how to fix it. We teach them skills for problem solving to figure all that out, so that they can find the sidewalk again and be on their way to their destination.
And we know how important it is for our kids to learn how to problem solve.
It really is. It's really hard to predict what's going to happen outdoors when you're traveling, and you need to be able to roll with the punches and be able to fix things when things don't go the way you think they're going to.
Right.
There's still more to the law. So let's take a look at that law one more time. IDEA focuses on the need to teach how to use the long cane or a service animal to supplement visual travel skills, or as a tool for safely negotiating the environment for children who have no available travel vision, and how to understand and use remaining vision and distance low vision aids and other concepts, techniques, and tools.
Like the ability to walk up and down stairs or to cross the street using a crosswalk. Learning to use the built-in GPS for walking directions on his iPhone was a game changer for my son.
I'm sure it was. We teach all kinds of devices and skills that help a child become a confident traveler. IDEA mandates that we do that.
Thank you so much, Beth, for helping us unpack the law. It can be really hard to understand what all the IDE legalese means, but this is a good start. Parents and caregivers, please remember to check out the MDELIO website for other videos in our Parent Educational Video Series. See you next time.
Bye.
In 2023, Beth Brabs returned to working as a teacher consultant for the visually impaired and orientation and mobility specialist at the Macomb Intermediate School District. She supports students in their local programs in Macomb County, Michigan.